vanish to the thin air when they were taken away. They were taken away, they're still on the ground.
Any one of us has a daughter now in captivity in Kebbi. Will you be sleeping?
And we know ourselves. And we know what is going on.
Can we ever win this war? Can we? Or can they?
One by one, senators rose in anger, frustration, and disbelief. Senator Aminu Tambuwal, Senator Ahmed Lawan, Senator Francis Fandahunsi, Senator Victor Ume, Senator Adams Oshiomhole, Senator Abdul Ningi, and Senator Asuko Ekpeyong all questioned how, despite billions allocated to Ministry of Defense, schools remain exposed and children remain easy targets.
We must de-emphasize the issues of religion and ethnicity while dealing with matters of insecurity. If we do not do that, the tendency is that we are falling into the trap of enemies of this country. And we know ourselves, and we know what is going on. I therefore charge every Nigerian to come together, bond together, and make sure that we move side by side in facing and confronting all of these challenges facing this country.
This administration is making a lot of investment in the security sector. I believe that with a lot of money, funds, and resources going into our armed forces, we should be asking for better outcomes. We should be looking at time frames. It shouldn't be an endless war against the insurgents. Can we really afford to fund our armed forces and other security agencies better, given the fact that we now have more revenues than before, and insist on value for money?
The military don't seem to appreciate the effort of Mr. President every day. He cannot go and fight on his own. Last week, the Brigadier General was murdered in ambush and murdered in Borno. That brigade commander, Mr. President, we have to ask the military and the security agents a question. Can we ever win this war? Can we? Or can they? We have the support, we give them the support they need. Let us ask them whether they can win this war. They were kidnapped yesterday or thereabouts. They didn't vanish to the thin air when they were taken away. They were taken away, they're still on the ground, being moved about. So I believe that the security agencies should deploy technology. Even from far places, you can locate these children where they are.
We capture in our prayer that we want additional 100,000 men and women to be recruited and trained and equipped and well kitted in the Nigerian army to be able to cover the increasing number of population, and the fact that we now have more schools than we used to have in 1960, in 1970, in 1980. Every year, our population is growing at 3%, and therefore our armed forces numbers should increase in addition to the deployment of appropriate tracking technology. It took the parliament like ours to come up and tell this government whether we can appease these terrorists or that we can go after these terrorists. Lives have been lost. Imagine if any one of us has a daughter now in captivity in Kebbi. Will you be sleeping? Is it possible for you to survive when your own daughter is taken? And because these daughters are not ours, we begin to be political and lackadaisical in meeting the expectations of our people.
Protect our people, to protect our children. That is the primary responsibility of government, the protection of lives and property. The Senate must wade into this matter very effectively and very determined to make a difference. We trust on the leadership of this nation. We trust on the leadership of this Senate that we are going to make a difference, and that this war and this insecurity that has plagued this nation for over a decade shall come to an end under this administration.
Their voices carried the weight of a memory Nigeria has tried desperately to move past. The haunting Chibok abduction of 2014, where hundreds of girls were taken in the dead of the night, shaking the world and marking one of the darkest chapters in the nation's security history. The demand came after Senator Abdullahi Yahaya raised a motion of urgent national importance, highlighting a recent terrorist attack in Kebbi South Senatorial District. Senator Abdullahi described the incident as a slap on the face of the nation.
Mr. President, I feel deeply hurt. This kind of terrorization of our students, our children, must stop. That's why I call this a slap on the face of this nation. We cannot just allow this kind of situation to continue like that.
Today, the Senate warned that history is threatening to repeat itself. Senate President Godswill Akpabio issued a grave warning. He called the resurgence of school kidnappings alarming and unacceptable, noting the eerie similarities to the Chibok tragedy, which unfolded just months before the 2015 elections. Akpabio stressed that these renewed attacks are happening at a time when the international community is watching Nigeria's security posture closely and when public confidence is already dangerously low.
Sympathize with the agony. We sympathize with the families for the agony they are passing through. We sympathize with those are young children that are probably in very uncomfortable situation right now, wherever they are taken to. And we urge the not just relevant committees this time, we urge the armed forces across board, including individuals who may have information, to assist to do everything to bring those children back to rejoin their families and to continue their education. We're in sympathy with them because they have been traumatized. And may we now rise to observe a 1 minute silence in honor of the vice principal, the heroic vice principal, who in the attempt to stop any harm coming upon those children was dastardly killed, as the Senate has already condemned such.
In a solemn moment, the Senate observed a minute of silence to honor the school's vice principal who died while trying to protect her students from the assailants, a final act of courage that underscored the tragedy's depth. With tension in the chamber and fear rising across the country, lawmakers emphasized that strengthening Nigeria's armed forces is no longer optional. It is a national emergency. If Nigeria does not act now, another Chibok-style catastrophe may be lurking in the shadow.